Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Rush Racing League. It is time for Div 4 pre-season racing here at Abu Dhabi. Should be a fun one here tonight. Abu Dhabi can bring a lot of surprises. It could be either a really solid race, or it could be a race known for following the leader. My name is Patrick Coleman, aka Ruckus, and I will be your host and commentator here today as we get ready for Div 4 pre-season racing here. We do have a full grid here tonight, which is always very awesome to see. And we're going to kick things off a little bit differently here compared to normal. It is still the singular qualifying session as we go ahead and bring you to live track picture. One qualifying session, 20 laps, but this time, before we really get into the nitty gritty of everything, I have a special guest with me here today. We're going to be talking with him for a bit. It is none other than Ryan Adair, XD Lamb, Ferrari's team principal. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. Had last night's pre-season race go decently, so we're in a good mood for tonight's interview.
Indeed, yeah, it's gonna be fun. And you also get a really good look at some Div 4 and Div 5 drivers who are eyeing a seat at your team or at another team. So you guys actually have first round pick in the draft. So I'm sure that's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Oh, 100%. I was lucky enough to be there when it was organising it, the draft order. So as soon as I saw my name pop up first, I was like, "Sweet as, I'm off. I'm knocking off for tonight." Um, I've already got my pick one in the Ferrari server actually, so they know who they are, and I'm sure they'll be looking forward to our little server becoming much less of a ghost town.
Indeed. Also, do you mind turning your mic up ever so slightly?
Sure thing. How's that?
Should be better. But yeah, I mean,
Sweet.
having a first round draft pick is always going to make things pretty interesting. You guys had a pretty up and down season last time around, but the big question that a lot of people are going to be asking is, I mean, obviously your main goal is to win the overalls, but will you say that your secondary goal is kicking your brother's butt as he is the TP of Kick Sauber?
100%. One of his biggest motivations was for him being a TP was he tells me he goes, I want to be a TP, Ryan. I was like, why? And he goes, I want to beat you and your team solely. And it's just like, okay, we can't let that one slide. So definitely going to be looking to beat Kick this season, hopefully, and definitely trying to take on the overalls as well.
It's such an interesting concept having two TPs under the same roof, essentially. So it should be a lot of fun. It should be fun watching you guys' teams do battle and maybe see you guys do battle on track against each other if you guys are racing in the same division. That will be a lot of fun to watch. So, is there any particular trait that you're looking for? I mean, pace is obviously going to be the big one, but is there any particular trait that you're going to look for when you're trying to pick up drivers for your team this season?
Um, well, currently, my main goal in this draft, first of all, is to get as many as the Ferrari guys I can from last season in because we had just such good chemistry throughout that season as a whole. And I'd very much like to bring it back, as well as, yeah, just looking for people they think they'd work well together with, bounce off one another, get good results, and just the chemistry needs to be there for a team to function, or else it just won't.
Yeah, because if you having that team synergy is such a boost. I mean, it helps in so many ways. I mean, especially because pretty much right after the draft, like 24 hours after the draft, practically, you pretty much go right into your first race as a team. So it's going to be interesting, and I know it is going to be. There's going to be teething issues, but if you pretty much bring back drivers you already have that chemistry, so you can kind of bypass those teething issues that one may experience when joining a brand new team. Like, I know for some drivers, it is going to be a bit of adjustment. Picking up from real world examples, I mean, when Lewis Hamilton joined Ferrari, there was a good amount of teething issues there as well. And Carlos Sainz at Williams also had his teething issues. So teething issues are a thing when joining a new team. And by picking up drivers you already had experience working with, that does kind of mitigate some of that risk. Now, I'm going to ask you this from the perspective of a driver. For the calendar that we have here this season, is there one particular track that you're really looking forward to?
Give me a second, I can pull that up and I'll answer that. But off the top of my head, no. Where is it going? I need OC. There we go. Alright. There's definitely a few I'm looking forward to. I liked Monza a lot. Last season I did really well there, even though I dropped down a few positions after post-race penalties. But Monza's definitely one I'm looking forward to in round one. Singapore's always been a favourite track of mine in round 5. Then next up would be Imola and Baku. And then Zandvoort, really. Those would be like the main ones. But if I had to pick one out of the 5 or so, definitely be Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore is a track that I think it's an interesting one because it's a really fun esports track to watch, but the IRL race can be hit or miss sometimes. So Singapore is always a classic. Obviously, I'm looking forward to Miami, my home track. Hopefully, it doesn't get replaced again because of a technical issue. But yeah, is there anything else you'd like to say to the fantastic people watching from home?
Let's see. Enjoy the stream for when I eventually bugger off. And if he's a racing in the draft, good luck and hopefully you lads get a seat.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for jumping on in. Best of luck to you this season, and have fun with the draft.
Sweet. Thank you, Record. Enjoy the comms and enjoy your night, man.
Will do. All right. So that was TP of Ferrari, XD Lamb, giving us a little bit of an insight to what's going through the mind of a TP as we get closer and closer to the draft. 4 days away. I think there's really only 2 other divisions that have yet to race. Maybe there's even only one. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one here. Quite a bit of a spread throughout the field. Spud Muffin half a second quicker than anybody else at the moment in the Haas. We do have Mercedes TP, H-Town in P2 at the moment. Moe Nabs in P3. And a few drivers still have yet to set a time. It looks like, Rise just spins it into the wall. Just coming right out of the final corner. He will keep the car functioning, but he does spin and lose a front wing in the process. That is definitely not the time he was looking for there. So that is very, very rough. I wonder what happened there. I guess he might have just overcooked it coming out of the final corner and just kind of spun it around. So we do have a few drivers currently still setting laps. You have the governor in the Williams. We'll see what he is going to go ahead and do. He raced for Alpine for a little bit, then Williams for the remainder of last season. What seat he is going to go to this time will be what we'll figure out in the draft. He's going to come across the line. P2, about 0.4 of a second. Keeper has actually retired from quali. That's an interesting one. So Keeper maybe trying to do last to first potentially. I mean, he surely doesn't have a qualifying ban because it's a brand new season. So that's a bit of an interesting one. Maybe he was dealing with some technical difficulties, which is very possible. As Bronco actually jumps up into second, much closer, 17 hundredths of a second between himself and Spud Muffin there. So very good stuff from the Mercedes man. H10 will be happy about that one. As now we go on board with Dash, who does have a little bit of traffic up ahead with a Ferrari, and the Ferrari is perfectly out of the way. So it is one singular qualifying session to rule them all, or you qualify here will pretty much determine the entirety of the grid. No 3-stage knockout, that will be saved for the regular season, as Daz is going to go ahead and make his way through the last minute call-in for Red Bull. Improves his time but doesn't improve his position. He was about 2/10 quicker on that last lap. Let's go ahead and jump on board with Patrick in the Ferrari as he is making his way down into the first hairpin on the circuit. A very tight, very, very acute left-hander there as he's going down the first of 2 DRS zones on the track. Coming up to the chicane where you can really make or break your lap time at this point. So it's very easy to take too much of the sausage curve and take part in some rallying, which Formula One cars are definitely not meant to do. And now he's coming up to the sweeping left-handed hairpin. Gonna go ahead and just make his way on through. He's gonna go ahead and do what he can to keep it nice and smooth. Very tricky part of the track that he's at right now, and dirty air through this part can be pretty rough. Fortunately, he does not have to deal with that at the moment because he's got a pretty solid gap. Making some good time there. We'll see where he goes, where will he sit, and it'll be provisional pole position there for Patrick. 6 thousandths of a second ahead. That is a mighty lap there for the Ferrari man, and I'm sure XD Lamb is watching with interest here as Patrick takes provisional pole, and things might get pretty spicy up at the front yet. We do have some drivers still going ahead and doing some good laps, as now we do have an LP driver about to cross the line, about 0.4 of a second ahead. He'll improve to 13th. And that is a good improvement there. You always want to take as many tenths as you can. Good to see everybody having a good night in chat. Hopefully you guys had a good New Year and a good Christmas. I know the New Year already feels like it's moving by pretty quick. We're already about to experience some of the first 2026 F1 livery reveals coming up soon, which is pretty crazy to me, honestly. Crazy how fast that we're already 2 weeks into 2026. But hopefully you guys have had a good week so far. And I mean, we're kicking the week off nice and awesome with racing here in Rush. And now Moe Nabs is going to go ahead and continue on. We'll see what he can do for his lap. Making his way to the hairpin. Now you can make some pretty aggressive overtakes in the hairpin. We will see how that is going to play out in the race itself. Will we see some Piastri-like overtakes, or are we going to see some extra shenanigans unfold? We'll just have to see. Because, you know, in racing, anything is possible. As Moe actually is going to come on into the pits. He wasn't feeling that lap time. So he'll pretty much go ahead and swap the set of tires and then get things rolling for the next one. Speaking of rolling, that's a name. I'm just going to call him Kenobi. Roll Me One Kenobi is going to go ahead and come back into the pits as well. Could not pull any Jedi mind tricks on the Alpine to get his lap uninvalidated. So he will just pull into the pits and get ready. We're about to see the final shootout. And we'll just kind of see how things are going. And to answer your question, Vide, it is 3:46 a.m. here in the U.S. coming to you from the Sunshine State of Florida. It is currently almost 4 a.m. So yes, it is very late. Very late or very early, depending on how you want to take a look at it. And I mean, I'm probably going to butcher any Star Wars reference that I make because I have actually not seen the entirety of Star Wars. I have only seen I guess they're called the, it's like the original trilogy, which is 4, 5, and 6. All the ones with like Luke Skywalker is like the main pro tag. Those are the only ones I've seen. And I haven't actually even seen any of the newer stuff. Actually, I haven't even watched the prequels either. And actually, as SJ, we're going to talk about the actual important things. SJ sets a mighty fine lap to take provisional pole here in Div 4. I mean, Star Wars came up with conversation. We do have Kenobi on track. We'll see if he can use some Jedi mind tricks on the Alpine to bring it up a good spot. Maybe he can use some of those Jedi mind tricks to get him a pretty early seat in the draft. But honestly, you don't need Jedi mind tricks to get a good position in the draft. You just need to show up and have a good race, be clean, try not to run into anyone, and ultimately, you just need to have fun. Because at the end of the day, this is a hobby. We're all having fun here. So, we do have about 2.5 minutes left to go in the session. It is going to be pretty much everybody trying to get the best times they can. It's going to be a flurry of activity. But the crazy thing is, something that I haven't really even mentioned, is just how close the top 5 are. The top 5 are within a tenth of a second from each other, which is absolutely crazy. That is insane to see. And will we see it as 6 drivers within a tenth of a second? We do have Daz making his way through the circuit in the Red Bull. We will see where he sits after this one. So the Governor's retired. He's pretty confident with that lap time. And Daz is actually going to pull into the pit. So I think that's actually going to be qualifying done for him. The Aston Martin's going to come across the line. He will jump into 12th. 0.6 of a second quicker than his previous attempt. Very nicely done there from the Aston Martin. Daz is retired as well. A lot of drivers on now left from one Aston Martin to the other. We're going to see if the OG Cookie will crumble under pressure, or will he rise to the top and get a strong lap time to make it 6 drivers within a tenth of a second of each other. Purple Sector 2, always a promising sign. And we will see how the rest of it goes. He does have cars ahead of him. And this is the tricky thing, right? It's all just so tight at this point because everybody's trying to get in. Less than a minute left to go of regulation. So it is going to be difficult for drivers. You're going to run into traffic, especially with 20 cars, as Cookie does not improve. We'll check on board with the Haas of Spud Muffin. We'll see if he's got any improvement in himself. We'll see. He is currently 17 hundredths of a second. And this will be a fight. This will be very close. Patrick, Spud Muffin, Bronco, H-Town. Those drivers all within hunt. And, I mean, hey, anybody can really just jump right up the order. We can say Gordo, who's currently in P19, make a jump up to the front. Kenobi is done. Noah is done. So those two will not be improving on their lap times. Qualifying is done and dusted. We do have a few more drivers on lap still. We will see. We do have a car just about to cross the line, and that is going to be Mitchell in the Visa Cash App Racing Bull. Spotty is done. And then we have one of the Ferraris just wrapped up too, and Spud Muffin jumps to provisional pole. A 1:23.3. Patrick is going to be done as well. He'll be in P3. What about Bronco? Bronco is on for a mighty fine improvement. We will see if Mercedes can take the pole position. There is an Aston Martin ahead though. There is, and Shining is retired, so he'll be down in P19. So here we go. H-Town's retired. He'll remain in P5. And Bronco takes provisional pole with a 1:23.2, about just under 0.2 of a second ahead. And then we come down to the last driver on a lap. It is going to be United. He is the last one. He's actually burned up so much battery at this point. I'm sorry, I went on board with Muzz. Bit of an early one. And where did United go? Oh, that's why he went up to P3 before I got a chance to click on him. That explains a lot. So United, P3 right now. So that is qualifying pretty much wrapped up here for this 20-lap fast-paced extravaganza that we got here in Abu Dhabi. And pole position belongs to Mercedes. As we go through our qualifying order, Bucking Bronco has galloped his way into P1, followed by Spud Muffin, United, the Governor, Patrick, H-Town, Spotty, Moe, the Fool Guy, OG, Mitchell, Gordo, Mose, Noah, Rise, Daz, Connor, Kenobi, Shining Swarm, and Keeper, who did not set a lap time in qualifying. So it should be an interesting one. There are some quick drivers who can really make their way up. I think the McLarens have a pretty good chance to go back up. Muzz in particular, he's got a pretty good shot of trying to make his way through. But it's all speculation until we see that green flag and then until we see that checkered flag. So lots can happen in the race. We have seen drivers start at the top and then fall way down the order because of some lap one shenanigans or anything else. But yeah, we'll just gotta see how the Grand Prix goes. 20 laps here, so a 35% race compared to the usual 50. So it is gonna be a one stop for the entirety of the field. Probably mediums and hards will be the main tires. You might see a couple of brave souls trying on the soft tire, so we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. I will take this moment to go ahead and let you guys know. Be sure to stay hydrated. I know we're still well within the winter months for a good part of the globe, but stay hydrated. Drink some water. I know Monster may taste good. I know Red Bull may taste good, but get some water as we're getting ready to send this one live. And it is lights out and away we go. H-Town getting a jump start penalty right off the rip. A pretty rough one there as he is severely falling down the order there. Bronco leads from Spud as they continue to do battle. United still trying to chase him down. And we have F1 cars just absolutely storming in Sector 1. And it looks like everybody is going to be running that one stop here. Unless you have damage, I don't really see it going any other way. Tires at the moment, everybody running the medium with the exception of Daz. Daz on the hard compound. So this will be an interesting one to say the least. And we do have drama here. Oh, I think we did have drama. H-Town very wide. 10-second penalty for corner cutting. That's a rough one for the Mercedes team principal. That is just rough, man. Bronco is now falling down the order too. He's down into third. He has lost 2 positions in the span of a moment. SJ pretty much watching this like a shark that just smelled blood in the water. The Williams driver tonight is going to go ahead and do everything he can to try to catch Bronco and jump back into P3. And Spud Muffin will go ahead and lead the field. SJ thinking about a move here. He's going to go ahead and try to get right up to the back of Bronco. H-Town, Mitchell, and Noah all coming into the pits. So this will be interesting to say the least. Unfortunate, I know all 3 of those guys got damaged pretty much right off the rip. But once again, it happens. It's racing. Lap 1 shenanigans are always a part of any form of motorsport, really, whether it's WEC, IndyCar, Formula 1, Rallycross. Not WRC though, because they do stages. But look at this McLaren on McLaren action here. As I did predict that Muzz will be able to make his way through the field, and sure enough, both McLarens actually having a really solid race here tonight. So here we go, the battle of the papayas. No papaya rules here tonight, just straight fighting. It is Chrome versus Carbon in the McLaren camp here tonight. So you can expect some really, really fun battles from these guys as we jump back to the front of the field where there is still a three-way fight happening here. SJ falling a bit back from this group though, and if he gets out of DRS range then he is going to be in some serious trouble from Spotty as Com United sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And here we go. It's going to be a interesting battle. And yeah, Keeper's also made some pretty good moves too. He's up into P12 at the moment, but we still have some really good action up and down the field. Speaking of drivers making moves, we'll see the positional changes. Keeper's actually made the most moves out of anybody. He is currently up into P12. And he's moved up 8 positions. He did not set a qualifying time. And now Bronco utilizing that DRS to get the move done on Com United. 3 drivers all still scrapping it out here. Bronco looking to get back in the lead, and he does, using all that DRS. Not much of a challenge there. And I can already tell that these 3 are going to be swapping positions like they're trading Pokemon cards. So this will be a fun one to kind of watch as it develops over the course of the Grand Prix. And then strategy is also going to take an effect as well, because pretty much at the beginning, everybody but one driver was running the medium. So very similar strategies for a good chunk of this field, as Bronco does take the fastest lap of the Grand Prix for himself, looking to make it a bit of a grand slam, although I think he actually no, he did not lead every lap, I don't think so. I think he's a bit out of that one, but just bringing up the tires real quick once again. Everybody is on that medium compound with the exception of Daz. Also, Mitchell and Noah did switch to those compounds during the pit stops. So H-Town did not switch tires because he had to serve a drive-through, as Shining Swarm is actually now in the pits. So that will be a bit of an interesting one. But now Bronco is going to be under attack here from Spud and Com United. These guys are all going to duke it out as the helicopter gives us a very nice view of the Yas Marina circuit. A relatively new circuit in the grand scheme of things. I think this circuit opened up around 2010, I want to say. No, it was earlier than that. I want to say it was like 2008. I'd have to double check that information, so take that with a grain of salt. But it is still it's a newer track, but it's already given us a lot of moments to remember in esports and in the real world. I don't even have to say the obvious one, but we'll see how this one goes, as now Com United is still trying to chase down Spud Muffin for P3. Do have some other battles here through up and down the grid as Patrick makes his way into the pits. So we're gonna jump on board with the other Ferrari, who's gonna try to make his way to try to catch the McLarens, who have been on a mighty charge here this race. So McLaren might have a pretty solid driver lineup for this division if they can get both Muzz and Fool Guy. We will see here the Ferrari now trying to close in the gap, trying to make things happen. He's going to go ahead and he'll close the gap, but the gap will remain nevertheless, as Keeper has actually made his way up into a new position. He got past Connor, and he's just flying through these cars. Just absolutely dicing through the field like a hot knife through butter. He's about to grab another one. He's about to get position number 10 against Rise. So, oh, and that's a very wide line there for the Sauber of Connor in the background. But look at this. Some more intense action bubbling up here in the midfield. This is for P10. Guys are absolutely duking it out. Some good battles here. A bit further up the road, we do have Spotty trying to duel with the Governor. And we will see who can go ahead and hold on to which position, who's going to gain, who's going to lose positions. We will just have to see. It looks like Spotty's going to think about a dive. We're going to try to send it up the hairpin. It's going to be a tight one. It's going to be a drag race now down to the next DRS zone. Drag race to the chicane. And who's going to win it out? Oh, it looks like the answer is not going to be Governor or Spotty. It's going to be Cookie. Just absolutely sending it down. As we have some battles here, it's a three-way battle for P4 on track. And look at this. Some defensive driving there, and that is a mighty good defense there from Cookie. Two drivers with DRS kept behind, but not for long, and he's a bit of a snap to the hairpin, costing him some positions. And now he is lost out. A very good charge. He kind of just showed up, honestly, in that battle. Just kind of showed up and then just kind of locked in. And oh, Rise has spun around. He is going to do the opposite of Rise through the order. He has fallen quite a bit there. Down into P16. Very unfortunate stuff there from the Alpine. Got into a little bit of contact there. As we do see Moe Nabs into the pits as well. So it'll be interesting to see just how the strategy does unfold for this one. And Rise now trying to close the gap on his teammate here of Kenobi. It'll be interesting to see what progress he can make. Bronco has checked out. He has proved that he has decided to lock in and disappear. And that was a massive hit there from Common United. A bit too late on the brakes going into the chicane. A bit of a love tap there between the two. And I'm sure Spud Muffin isn't exactly too pleased with that one. I certainly wouldn't be. As the Governor does move up into P4 as it sits right now. The field is pretty much spread out here at this point. Although the Fool Guy trying to close in the gap to Gordo. Gordo did get the pass done, splitting the McLarens. As these guys are going to go ahead and just scrap it out here in the midfield. Trying to cement their place in the draft for on the 16th. About 4 days from now. So, we do have Common United as a Governor coming into the pits. Pit stops are starting to cycle on through. And this will kind of shake up the order a bit. And we do have a tire change from medium to hard. That is an absolutely shocking change of tires. I'm kidding. No, that's pretty much what we expected. We expected pretty much the mediums and the hards to be the main tire compounds used. Maybe a Brave Soul will jump on the soft tires if a safety car comes out, but for the most part, it's pretty much if you start on medium, you're going to go to the hard and vice versa. So, Cookie now trying to get past Spotty here for what is currently P3, but that will change on the track. So we're going to see here if the Aston Martin can get the move done. Good positioning there from Spotty. His name may be Spotty, but his defense certainly isn't. He holds off the Aston Martin, at least for now, and it's really, really difficult to overtake at this part of the circuit. So, very difficult indeed. And here's the thing. Here's what we're going to do, actually. I think a lot of these guys are going to come into the pits, and no, actually. So we're going to actually take a quick step back and ride on board with Cookie as he goes and continues to chase down Spotto. We'll be right back. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and as we saw there, Cookie got a very unfortunate penalty there. He got a penalty for corner cutting, which not the worst one you can get. You can always get speeding in the pit lane, which absolutely just kind of destroys any chance of winning a race 9 times out of 10. So that is, I mean, could be worse. You got to count your blessings while you can. And now we are going to continue on with just seeing how these drivers navigate through the rest of the race. Some pretty big gaps here. Spud Muffin trying to close the gap. And he'll get past H-Town right there. H-Town on older medium tires, trying to delay the pit stop as long as he can because he knows he does have the 10-second penalty he's got to serve. So he knows he's got a bit of a rough one ahead of him, so he wants to try to delay the inevitable as long as he can. He did make his pit stop, but he hasn't changed tires, and you need to run 2 separate compounds of tires or else you do get hit with a penalty. And I think the penalty is actually pretty massive. It's like a 1-minute penalty or something like that. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff. So pretty much everybody now, we're pretty much in the exact opposite situation as H-Town does even more penalties now. So I think that's like, what, 16 seconds of penalties got? Let's check that. 13. Okay, I was close. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this one goes. Mitchell will join the penalty club. He's now got 3 seconds as well. Track limits are a thing, and they will bite you. Some tracks more than others. This track does have a good amount of runoff, so it can be pretty easy to actually get those track limit violations. So you pretty much got to be real careful in those situations. So we do have Moe Nabs now trying to close in the gap, trying to make up any kind of position that he can here, as the field has spread out pretty consistently here, as pretty much only cars within DRS range are Keeper, Moe, and Full Guy, all within DRS range of Muzz. Muzz is almost within DRS range of the Ferrari ahead of Gordo, who is putting on a pretty good performance here tonight. And that is a commentator's curse if I have ever given one. As I was uttering the sentence, I didn't even get to finish the sentence yet. I was saying that Gordo was actually having a pretty solid night here. And he gets a penalty. Man, I don't even get to finish the sentence anymore before a commentator's curse gets into effect. If you guys ever become a commentator, just know you are likely going to commentator curse somebody at some point. Just know. It's almost a rite of passage. As unfortunate as it is for the driver, it is kind of like a rite of passage to at least get one commentator curse on someone. So Dad's just falling down the order. He did make his pit stop, so he didn't spin out or anything of the sort. Even though I wasn't saying he was in the pits, we did check in a little bit, and he was. Spud Muffin now onto the Governor, battling for P2, and he's going to just try to send it up the inside of the chicane, and he has done it. H-Town retiring in the pits. He has called it for the night. The Mercedes TP done and dusted for the night, and actually kind of forming a Mercedes sandwich at the moment. You got Bronco about 4 seconds in the lead, and H-Town has retired. So the race finishes like this. It will be a Mercedes sandwich, which is, I mean, there's no extra points for making a team sandwich or anything. Just a fun thing to note. Some battles are starting to pick up here as we do have Mitchell trying to close the gap on Connor. And looks like Muzz is trying to close in on Keeper as well, but the big battle that we got right now is the Governor and Spud Muffin trying to go ahead and scrap it out. They're on the same tires. Noah gets a 3-second time pen for track limit violations. He'll be driver number 5 to have one at the moment. And we will see how the rest of the Grand Prix goes. Lap 13 out of 20 here tonight, as the Governor is trying to close the gap to Spud Muffin. We'll see if he can get it done here on the DRS. I think he's still a bit too far out. I think he can definitely close that gap, but he will definitely not be able to get the overtake here. The Williams has been historically IRL really good in a straight line, but with equal performance, all the cars are pretty much the same when it comes to speed. So it'll be a tricky one for SJ to try to close the gap up. He will closing the gap is one thing, making the overtake is completely separate. Spotty and Com United. Ooh, that was close. That even looked like contact there, a little bit there from Com United. Gordo gets past Cookie, and they're actually still scrapping out through the hairpin. A lot of people like to fight in that hairpin, apparently. I might have to rename that the UFC hairpin with how much fighting we're having there. And battle between Ferrari and Aston Martin. This is a very fun battle to watch. And Cookie is not crumbling under the pressure. He still has Gordo right behind him, but he's been making very good work and very good use of his tires. Very good use of the track as well, just utilizing that strong defense. Racing currently under the reigning overall champions of Aston Martin. They're going to be looking to go back to back. And, I mean, hey, we'll see if we can. We'll see if they can. I think they're kind of like in the middle of the draft. We'll talk about the draft order real quick at the end of the race as Com United is trying to make his way on through. He does get past, and he not for long though. Spotty I think retakes the spot, and we will see. Spotty has had a pretty good race here tonight, but Com United's got so much speed from the DRS, and oh, that's a very sharp cut. It looks like he was about to spin it there in the Red Bull. So almost had some drama there between these guys, and it's still the Sauber and the Red Bull duking it out, trying to fight for every possible position here. And I mean, granted, there's no points on offer, but you got to impress the TPs, and I think this battle is a really fun one to watch, and I'm sure the TPs are really enjoying this one. Aardvark and Sick Party, they were the TPs of Red Bull and Sauber respectively. And we will see Spotty kicking into high gear, trying to kick himself into P4. And he does just that. Kicking Com United out of the top 4 into Sauber, making his way through. We do have some other battles forming on the grid. Daz, and actually it's a bit of a fight, a three-way fight here between Daz, Moe, Nabs, and Buzz, all trying to fight for position here. Look at this. Fool Guy is also involved as well. So a bit of a wide shot there for the McLaren. It is a beautiful, beautiful fight. Oh, look at this. Daz is going to try to make the move onto the Williams, and he's got the DRS, he's got the speed, he's got the move, and he's got the position. He'll make that as easy as you like. Rides will be the next one to join the penalty club here, as Com United does get a 3-second time penalty for track limit violation, so that's going to put a hurting on any of his chances of trying to. He can stand in top 5, but anything beyond that's a bit of a lost cause, unfortunately. So, unfortunately for the Red Bull, as one Red Bull is trying to close the gap to a McLaren, the other one is getting a penalty, trying to run away from a Sauber. And Shining Swan will get a 3-second penalty as well. 5 to go here. A very nice dive there from Spotty. And yeah, very good stuff there from the Sauber. He doesn't need to do anything too crazy. He just needs to stay within 3 seconds of the Red Bull ahead, and he'll get P4. But he's a racing driver. He'll want to get this done on track. He will settle for nothing less, as Kenobi now joins the penalty club as well. So penalties are aplenty here in Abu Dhabi, as Spotty is going to try to utilize the track. Oh, coming out deep on the brakes, trying to make it into the chicane, but it just doesn't quite work. And it is going to be Spotty into P4, but Com United's got the DRS again. And that is going to be as easy as you like it for a pass. H-Town has left the session. He retired several laps ago, so there will be no incident. As now Gordo is trying to close in to Cookie. Trying to go ahead and see if he can move up into P6. Both drivers do have penalties, and actually, Keeper, I mean, driver of the day. I know we haven't really done driver of the day for any of the preseason races, but I think we can all unanimously be in agreement that Keeper should get driver of the day. Started in 20th, now up into 8th. I mean, that is a generational drive if I have ever seen one. So if Keeper isn't already signed, then he needs to be, because this has been a strong drive. And the cinema continues from Spotty and Com United. We will just kind of see how this one plays out. I mean, it's kind of hard to predict. They're both trading positions back and forth. It's kind of like heads or tails on who's going to lead from corner to corner. Com United trying to make his car as wide as possible, but Spotty just spotted a gap and trying to make it stick. And it's going to be a battle between these guys once again. Neither one of them actually had DRS, which is really interesting. So that's pretty rare. But with these guys, that's they're battling. Cookie and Gordo might actually be able to kind of jump into it and kind of just make it a four-way fight here, really. I mean, Spotty's going to win out because he's the only one of these four that doesn't have a penalty, as we are 3 laps to go in the Grand Prix. But, yeah, this has actually been a pretty solid one. And, of course, the cinema continues. As now, Cookie's actually in the mix as well. We've seen Cookie make some strong moves. Cookie has actually made it past Com United, which Com United has DC'd from the session. We got to try to invite him back real quickly. I don't actually see him on the list. We'll have to get him back at a later point, because there is still some strong battles going on here between these guys. And here we go. Oh, he's been able to rejoin, so makes my job a little bit easier. I mean, then again, when racing is as intense as it is right now, with Keeper making another position up, he is now up in the 7th. Trying to go for position number 6. And man, what a drive Keeper's had here today. He's definitely a keeper for any team that signs him during the draft, which, to remind you guys, is on the 16th. And he's trying to make it P6. Trying to graduate for P7 here on the circuit. But yeah, this has been a very, very, very good race here at Abu Dhabi. It's been a fun one, but the fun ain't over yet. 2 more laps to go. And oh no, I am the commentators' curses just keep happening. Keeper still having an amazing drive by anybody's standard is gonna have a bit of heartbreak, considering that on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix he does get hit with a penalty, a 3-second penalty for track limit violations, and he is out of DRS range from Gordo, so that's gonna drop him to about P10, which is still a very good drive nevertheless. So, I mean, he can still keep his head up high, as Cookie has also had a really strong drive here, as well, as we're getting ready to start the final lap of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And we have a fight here between Fool Guy and Moe Nebs. Moe trying to fool the McLaren into giving him P11. We'll see if that's going to happen, and sure enough, the DRS is a very powerful tool around this track, and this has been a fantastic Grand Prix. The preseason races this season have been fantastic as always. Really looking forward to the season, as Patrick unfortunately gets another penalty for track limit violations. Keeper's up 13 positions. He will drop a couple due to penalties as we do begin the final lap of the Grand Prix. Very good stuff from all these guys here as the McLaren full guy is trying to reclaim that P11, and it is just, he's going to try. I think he's missing an end plate actually, so that's going to make things really difficult for him. Actually, both drivers are both missing out right end plate, so that is a very interesting one indeed. But man, oh man, what a race that has been here in Abu Dhabi. But a driver who has had a very good race here, nevertheless, is a driver who has pretty much dominated for a majority of the Grand Prix. He's built up a gap, he has kept a gap, he made the pit stop, and the gap continued. He's got only 2 more corners left to go now. And coming across the line to take victory for Mercedes, Bucking Bronco wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it'll be Spud Muffin in P4, and the Governor rounding out the podium. What a drive from the top 3. Spotty will come home in P4. Carmenite gets penalties as well, so this field will change. The order will change quite a bit. Dads will get promoted to P5. Keep will actually still stay in the top 10. He will drop down to P11. Both Daz and Keeper, definite drivers of the day, both moving up 11 positions from where they started. A very good drive for these guys here tonight. But your winner of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is Bucking Bronco. Very good job in the Mercedes. Very, very beautiful stuff there. We still have 2 drivers come across the line now, and that is going to be it for us here in Abu Dhabi. We'll take a look at the superlatives real quickly. So we're going to do podium celebrations first. Let everybody kind of enjoy it. Prancing around is Bronco, prancing his way up into P1. Very nice stuff there. And he will take the trophy. And a very well-earned trophy it is. The champagne will begin to spray around as these drivers will celebrate here soon. And there we go, drivers celebrating this one. It's been a very good race, very strong, lots of good battles up and down this field. You always love to see it. So we're going to take a look at the superlatives real quick. Fast lap does go to Bronco. Driver of the day is Daz. Most overtakes is Daz. Cleanest driver is the Governor. As we're going to go ahead and run through our finishing order before we talk about the draft really quickly, then wrap things up. Bucking Bronco will take victory, pole position, and the fastest lap, followed by Spud Muffin, the Governor, Spotty, Daz, OG Cookie, Gordo, Muzz, Keeper, Calm United, Full Guy, Bowie Nabs, Patrick, Connor, Mitchell, Rise, Noah, Kenobi, Shining Swarm, and the only retirement of H-Town. So we're going to go ahead and pull up the draft order real quick for one last time. Here's your draft order. Ferrari will kick things off, and then it'll be Mercedes, McLaren, Williams, Racing Bulls, Kick Sauber, Red Bull, Alpine, Aston Martin, and then Haas. And then we will flip the order. For Haas will start first and then go in reverse, and it will go in that order, alternating between round 1 and round number 10. So that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here, guys. It has been a fun one here in Abu Dhabi for the last preseason race in Div 4. And this is going to be an absolute cinematic season, I will say. So I want to give a special thank you to our sponsors, Sim Racing Center, SimLab, Pagani, and Advanced Simulation, AI369. And of course, I got to give a massive thank you to my favorite group of people here, the Twitch chat. You guys are awesome as always. Good to see you guys here again. And what a race we had here. So, Thank you guys so much for tuning on in to tonight's Grand Prix. And we will see you guys in the next one on behalf of everybody here at Rush Racing League. My name's been Patrick Coleman, aka Rekis, and I've been your host and commentator for tonight's Grand Prix. Be sure to hydrate and have a good night. See you then.